Testing, testing. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me okay. I am going to try and do a quick little live stream both here on YouTube and on Instagram. So I'm trying to get Instagram set up. I've got YouTube going right now, so let me know in the comments if you can hear me and see me okay. What up, Frog 2.0? Doing pretty good, man. Justin, you're my biggest fan. Appreciate you, dog. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. I'm gonna start this live stream over on Instagram as well. So we'll see how this goes. I'm just going to show you guys what it is that I've got going for my giveaway that I'm running on Instagram right now. And I'm gonna let you guys enter on YouTube right now as well if you want. So you can enter on this video. Just make sure you're a subscriber to the YouTube page. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Any comment will do. I will throw your name in the hat. So I just posted the giveaway on Instagram the other day, and here is what I'm giving away right now. You have till tomorrow night to enter. So if you want to go hop on Instagram, if you're watching this on YouTube, or you're on Instagram and you haven't entered yet, go ahead and do so. This is a super cool kit made by SpoolTek lures, and I'm going to show you right now how it works. So for all of you on either or both platforms, I'm live right now on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm going to show you how this bad boy works. Again, this is the SpoolTek lures fatty 6-inch goodness gracious. Hold on tight, guys. Okay, so this is the SpoolTek Fatty Modular Tail Kit. The SpoolTek Fatty is it's a bait that has a special technology with a deployable steel leader built into the bait. So essentially, this gives you the benefit of having a unique, almost line-through system. It winds up here. If you can't see, it's just got this dial on the side of the bait where you wind up the leader into the bait, and then once it gets up flush with the head, it clicks into place and stays locked in, okay? And it won't move around up and down until you set the hook, and it will come out like I just showed you. So before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these 3 tails on, maybe show you all 3 tails, but essentially what we have here are the short original fatty tail, and this makes it a straight up 6-inch swim bait. So it has this tail slot where you slide in the type of tail that you're using. So you can buy replacement tails for these baits once they wear out. So that's the cool thing about this design, in addition to the steel leader, is the fact that you can remove this thing. So I'm going to click it in place, then show you what this thing looks like, and wind up the leader and set the hook back into place. So right now this is the 6-inch fatty tail on here, and it looks pretty seamless. So this color here is called After Hours. It's a dark purple black with a clear tail, a lot of purple flake in there. And again, the point of this is you tie to the line tie at the front of the head, and this bad boy is heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh it for you guys so that you can see and know from the horse's mouth exactly what this thing weighs on the scale. So zero this thing out, and let me put the tray on here, make it easier to weigh. In ounces, this thing is 3.93 with the tail attached. It was about 3.3 ounces without the tail. So this is the extra heavy version of this bait, made to be fished in deep water and in heavy, fast current, okay? So according to the package here, the standard 6-inch fatty tail shines when it is straight retrieved, straight cranked, slow rolled, or jigged. It's a great option for covering the entire water column. So this is how the bait was designed, the standard 6-inch fatty. They make the fatty in a few different versions as well. I have a couple in the 4-inch fatty, which is a much smaller, more finesse version of this bait. And as you can see, this is not a modular kit. This is just the standard 4-inch fatty swim bait. And this guy is significantly smaller. The head itself weighs like a ½ ounce. I want to say the standard 6-inch weighs closer to 2 ounces, not 3.5. But I'm not positive. You'd have to check SpoolTek's website for that. And so same technology. The 4-inch has a deployable leader, a little bit shorter, more like a 6-inch leader. And I want to say this is 40-pound wire. Yeah, 40-pound stainless steel cable leader. But it winds up exactly the same way. Same concept in these SpoolTek lures. So cool thing is I am giving away this extra heavy 6-inch fatty modular tail kit, which I think retails for something like 30 bucks. And I've had it for a while, but just not used it, and thought somebody might really be able to put it to good use. This SpoolTek concept was designed for snook fishing in Florida primarily, you know, for fish with sharp teeth or with abrasive skin or mouths, so that when you set the hook, again, it deploys this steel leader, and essentially you're fighting the fish without any risk of losing the bait, because this is a heavy-duty leader, steel leader, and they don't have the leverage to be able to throw the hook. So really cool design here by SpoolTek. If you didn't know, SpoolTek is one of the companies owned by Patrick Sebile. It is part of the larger company called A Band of Anglers. And so I just very easily detached the tail. This was the 6-inch fatty tail. I'm going to grab the 9-inch stretch tail and attach it next and show you what it looks like. Just clicks right into place, and then you wind up that steel leader again. Just righty-tighty. Takes just, 10 or 15 seconds to wind up that hook. You want to make sure that the leader is not wrapped in a circle around the hook. It kind of sets into place, and then you crank it 1 or 2 more times, and it is good to go. So this 9-inch stretch tail is quite a bit longer and better for different applications. As the packaging says, the 9-inch stretch tail provides a big profile when fish are feeding on larger forage. Straight cranking produces a seductive body wobble and tail thump. Sweeping the lure with the current along the bottom can be extremely effective. So you're going to fish this deeper along the bottom. This is more of a lower in the water column type of technique, but you get a larger profile for when fish are feeding on bigger prey. So really cool deal that you can use the same head for a 6-inch tail and a 9-inch tail and get a totally different profile, different bait here. So again, set the hook, and you've got a 12-inch, 80-pound steel cable leader there. Now, to remove it, you literally just push up from the bottom. It clicks and slides right out. And the last tail included in this modular tail kit is the straight tail. And I want to say this is, you know, right at 6, maybe 7 inches. I want to make sure that I put this in the correct way. And it's hard for me to even tell which is the correct way. But I guess we'll know once it's clicked in. And my assumption is because there's a slit in the tail, and I think that goes up and not down. But that's just a guess on my part. Again, I have never fished this, especially the modular tail kit with these other tail versions. I have fished the 4-inch fatty, which just has the standard paddle tail, but not the stretch or the straight tail. So according to the packaging, the straight tail, the streamlined straight tail allows the lure to get deep fast and is perfect for jigging. It's also great when game fish are feeding on or near the surface. Twitch the rod while reeling quickly to give the lure an erratic darting action that fish find irresistible. So you can jig this thing down deep off the bottom because it will fall faster than with the paddle tail. It's not going to swim to the bottom, but rather just dart straight on down. And then you can twitch this thing high in the water column, and it's not going to have as much of a swimming action, but be more like a jerk bait. So very cool deal here. Let me click this into place so that it doesn't want to move around. And there we go. So then again, when you set the hook, voila. Very, very cool deal here. This is the 6-inch fatty modular tail kit from SpoolTek Lures, and I'm giving it away to one lucky winner on Instagram or on YouTube. So you can enter on either platform. Since I'm streaming live right now on YouTube, feel free to enter over here on YouTube. Just like the video, make sure you're a subscriber already, and leave a comment down below. Any comment will do just fine. And just to increase your odds, hop on over to Instagram and enter over there as well. You can enter more than once on Instagram. All you have to do is make sure that you are following my page, like the post, and leave a comment tagging 2 of your fishing buddies in one comment. You can enter as many times as you want. You have roughly 24 hours left to enter the giveaway. That is it. So I just wanted to make sure that I hop on and show you guys how the SpoolTek Fatty modular tail kit works. It's the same concept with the standard fatty. Once you rip off the tail or it wears out, you can buy replacement tails. So you click out the tail. The head is made of a hard plastic, and the tail is a soft plastic. So you can buy replacement tails for this thing and click them in. I think you can buy replacement packs that come in 3 to a pack, 3 tails. But this is a modular tail kit which provides you 3 different types of tails, which I think is super cool. So again, this after hours dark purple and black color is perfect for low light conditions, and because it is the extra heavy model and is going to weigh roughly 4 ounces when rigged, it is best for deep water and for heavy current situations. So I'm going to end my live stream on Instagram here right now so that I can post it to my page and you guys have a chance to check it out. I will post it to the page if you want to rewatch this and see how to rig this. What up, Get Fishing? How you doing, man? Again, I just went through how to rig this bad boy that I'm giving away. Giveaway ends tomorrow night. To all of you on Instagram, which might just be you right now, man. Cheers. Have a great rest of your night. I'm just going to hang out here on YouTube right now. If you want to pop on over to YouTube and hang out with me for a little bit, I'd love to have you. So, cheers. Hang on one sec, guys, while I finish posting this to my Instagram feed. and then I will get right with you guys on your questions. And I apologize for that being mostly focused on Instagram instead of you guys over on YouTube. You guys are the OGs and the real fans, and I appreciate you very much. All right, now I'm going to put you guys on this tripod so that you're a little bit more stable. We can see each other better, and we can hang out for a little while. Let me hop in and answer some of these comments, questions that you guys might have, and let's chill for a little while. Happy Wednesday night to you guys. Let me center this up. All right, looks like we got some OGs in the building. Sorry that I haven't been paying attention to comments until now. Ron Holly, what's up, dude? Dan, the man. Riley's in here. Justin. Fishing with Tiny Bassin. Right on, man. Good to see you in here. Glad to hear that you have entered on both platforms now. I see that you've entered pretty much all of my giveaways that I've had on Instagram and the more recent ones on YouTube. So thanks for doing that. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you. Nixie Morales in the building. What's up, man? Dan, I don't know how you haven't seen. Are you talking about the SpoolTek Fatty, or are you talking about my bait room setup, or what exactly are you referring to when you say you haven't seen that? I'm glad to hear that I've got another fellow tackle hoarder in the building. Good to see you, man. Frog, sorry to hear that you caught the stomach flu last night, man. That sounds rough. Hope it's only the stomach flu and not coronavirus. Yeah, Justin, it is heavy, sitting at 4 ounces. That extra heavy swim bait is pretty big. So I'm going to skip ahead on these comments. Brian Waterman, what's up, dude? Doing pretty well. How are you, man? And the Funk is in here. Man, remind me one more time what your name is. You told me before, but I forget. And I want to call you by your first name. I prefer to be on a first name basis with as many of you as possible. So let us know in the comments who you are, what your name is, and not just your screen name, because it doesn't always tell us. So Frankie is the Funk. I will hopefully remember that. Justin, Tyler's OG crew, look at you guys. Appreciate the hashtag. Tribute arts for you. Hey, man. Thank you very much. That's extremely generous of you to say. I don't agree with you, but that is very nice, and I'm glad to hang out with you guys when I have an opportunity. I rarely get on here on weeknights just because I do have a wife and 2 kids, and my wife works on weekends. So I am usually on Friday or Saturday night, sometimes Sunday night, and just love the opportunity to hop on, do a little live stream, and engage with you guys in a small group setting like this. There's 8 people watching. I know that's nothing compared to a lot of the other people who do live stream and often have hundreds of people in here, but this way we can actually have a dialogue and a conversation. You guys can ask questions or just chat about whatever you want, and we can really get to know each other. So thank you very much for the compliment. Brian says, pulled the trigger on the 6, do you mean sticks? Oh, SLX spinning rod. Medium light, loads at 1/16 of an ounce. Also the Akuma spinning reel, hope it's okay. Only blue reel I could find to match it. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it's wild how we all want to match colors when it comes to rod and reel combinations. I feel you on that, man. I don't know that I have. Actually, I have a couple in here that we could go over. I could show you. So we talked about swim baits recently. I haven't moved my rod and reel combos in here from the garage yet, but I have these two setups from the other live stream that we did talking about swim baits. And yes, I also like to match my colors. So this is kind of my standard, this is my frogging, my heavy chatterbaits, my jig setup for the most part, but I also use for smaller paddle tail swim baits like this guy. This is a 5.8 inch Jackal Rhythm Wave on a belly weighted swim bait hook. This is the Trokar swim blade. And so yeah, I've got this black and red color combo. This is a Lose 7.3 heavy fast action, just a carbon fire speed stick. It's like their $80 rod with the partial wind grip, you know, up top, and then a little bit of a foam base here. But the reel I'm using is pretty much a black, little bit of red on it, the Quantum Smoke S3, and I put red braid on there. So yeah, dude, we all like to match our stuff. I did the same thing with my medium swim bait setup, and I've got the Dobbins Fury 795 swim bait rod with a Daiwa Tatula 200 reel, and I've put the high vis green braid on there. So yep, black and green, black and red. I feel you on the matching front, dude. Hey Justin, that's not nice, man. Don't go talking about the Broncos being 4-7. All of our quarterbacks had COVID or were ineligible to play this past week because one of them got COVID, and contact tracing led to everybody being ineligible for the game. So we had a wide receiver from our practice squad, a dude who a month ago was not playing football professionally, had a real day job, and hadn't played quarterback for like, I don't know, going on 10 years. He had played quarterback once in his life and was like 1 for 8 in that game. Not a good quarterback. I don't know how he got the job for the game last weekend. And so let's not go talking smack about the Broncos. We had a ton of injuries early season, and it is definitely a rebuilding year. We should not have won 4 games already. In fact, we should have been tanking, and intentionally losing more games than we have for the sake of getting a better draft pick come the offseason. But yeah, your Seahawks are definitely good, man. And honestly, I was rooting for them the other night, even though I'm still salty about the Super Bowl freaking 5 years ago. But it is what it is. Like we've talked about before, I think Russell Wilson is a stand-up guy. I think DK Metcalf is a monster of a wide receiver. Always fun to watch when DK has a game like that. So anyway, Tribute Arts, what is your first name? You say you should try and make videos with Norm. Both y'all are really great. Norm lives on the East Coast, man. I'm pretty sure he's like in Florida or Georgia or Alabama, somewhere definitely in the Southeast. And Norm's definitely a cool guy, entertaining for sure. I like his style, his train of thought, and the fact that he is just a little bit out there. He's kind of like the Mr. Beast of the YouTube fishing community. Just likes to do out there stuff. He's very generous with his money and the giveaways and the challenges that he does. He gives away a ton of stuff. I like to do giveaways as well for the sake of giving back to you guys and making sure that some of the stuff that I acquire and don't use goes to good use. But mostly just because I am a hoarder myself. I'm a collector, and I also want to grow this thing. And I know that people will pay attention. I can get the interest of new people by giving stuff away on a regular basis. So It's just kind of part of my deal, but I agree. Norm is a good guy, man. So your name is Angel or Angel. You're going to head out. Got school tomorrow. Okay. Well, appreciate you joining us for the live stream. Hope you have a good rest of your night and a good day at school tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time, man. So Riley is asking, what is your go-to for 40-degree bait for tough days? 40-degree weather or 40-degree water temps? Those are totally different deals. Let's talk water temperature, Riley. Brian says Akuma Inspira reel. Never used Akuma. Should be interesting. I haven't either, but I've generally heard pretty good things. I know that Tackle Junkie uses a lot of Akuma TCS rods. Used to use some of their reels, and I know that Scott Martin was with Akuma for a long, long time. So I know that they make good stuff. I just haven't ever used any of their stuff. I'm sure that you'll be fine, especially when it comes to a spinning reel, because that is kind of their specialty, more so than bait casters. But you say, what size reel do you use on your medium light setup? Typically, I use a 2000 size reel on like my medium light, but sometimes I'll even use my 1000 size reel that I would typically use on an ultralight setup. Just depends on the application. You know, medium light is kind of a crossover rod for me. So I'll throw drop shots and I will throw Ned rigs primarily on that medium light. And so it depends. You know, if I'm throwing a drop shot, usually I want a 2000 size, 2500 reel where I've got a little bit more spool capacity, but it's not going to be too much to overpower or to be too heavy for the reel or the rod itself. But a 1000 size I find is what I use primarily for Ned rig fishing and for ultra light setups. So if I'm fishing shallow and I don't need the extra line capacity, I'll go down to a 1000 size reel. Justin says, no, man, I ain't trying to go down that road. Talking smack about football. No problem. Yeah, guys, to all 7 of you in here, hit that like button if you haven't already. That gets you halfway to entering the giveaway to win the SpoolTek Fatty Modular Tail Kit. I am picking a winner tomorrow night, so if you haven't already, leave a comment, not in the chat section, but in the section below the video. You might have to wait till after the live stream to do so, but make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment when all is said and done, and you will be entered into the giveaway. So it's as simple as that. Appreciate you, Justin. Riley says, weather, 40-degree weather, but it's already getting in the 20s. Yeah, so you didn't mention water temperature. How cold is your water down in Louisiana? Because I would assume it's probably still in the 50s, maybe pushing 40s by now, but if I had to guess, it's still in the 50s. You tell me, though. Do you know? Because for you, I would say that with the way that this season has gone, you're probably more in like the fall to winter transition right now. It's definitely not winter time, and you should be able to catch them pretty good on a lot of different stuff. Yeah, Frankie, it is a huge bait. It's a 6-inch bait by itself, but with the stretch tail, it goes to 9 inches, and yeah, it's extra heavy. This thing weighs 3.3 ounces in just the head, and then each of the tails are going to add about a ½ ounce in weight. So this is definitely a heavy lure, made for saltwater and freshwater fishing, but for big fish, for deep water, and for heavy current situations. So I think I explained, but SpoolTek is part of the parent company that is called A Band of Anglers, and they've got a few different companies, and I don't know if I've made a dedicated video to talking about A Band of Anglers products before, but they make some really cool stuff. It's a company started by Patrick Sebile, who is a world-renowned uh, angler, mostly does saltwater fishing and with a spinning reel. He's old school, but he's a lure designer, has been for decades, and he is an awesome guy. So he started a few companies, but A Band of Anglers is like the parent company of a few different companies. This one is called Hyperlastics. So they make these swim baits, and now it extends to a few different types of lures. They've got straight tail, paddle tail, curly tail swim baits, and it will probably expand to other types of profiles than just swim baits. But this is the dart spin, the Hyperlastics dart spin, and it's made of a super stretchy material similar to Elastec, and it's got a molded in spinner as the tail. So really cool design here. I've got two of them rigged up. This is their standard dart spin in the 4.5-inch version, which is like their finesse. They make one even smaller than this. I've got it rigged on the back of a Okashira screwhead by Megabass, and this is a wicked combo. You get a screwhead in the front and a spinning blade in the back, but the dart spin is wicked just on a standard jig head like this. This is the Strike King Squadron head, I think in the 1/4 ounce size. This has like a 3/0 hook on it, and this is their 5.5-inch version. But this is the Dart Spin Pro. So the Dart Spin Pro comes 1 to a pack, and they're these higher end finishes, and the standard Dart Spin come 2 to a pack in more solid colors. But wicked lures there. That's what got my attention for A Band of Anglers in the first place. And then they reached out to me. We started a conversation. They sent me some more stuff from a couple of their other companies. One was SpoolTek. So I learned about the Fatty and the SpoolTek system with the cable leader inside. They've now expanded the series to include a braid leader that is more focused on bass fishing than saltwater fishing. And they also have a brand called Engage, which includes mostly just like a twitch bait called the Twitch Shad. I think I've showed you guys before. I don't know where those baits are at the moment, and I'll show you another time. But again, Patrick Sebile is up to some really cool lure designing stuff through those 3 companies: SpoolTek, Hyperlastics, and Engage. And they're all under the parent company, A Band of Anglers. So check them out if you haven't already. Riley says probably 50, but high 40s on a cold day. Okay, let's talk about Riley's question first, and then I'll go to Brian's right now. So Riley's asking, what would be a good lure for tough conditions in cold weather this time of year? At least I think that's what you asked. What's your go-to 40-degree bait for tough days? Okay, so this time of year, 40 degrees, you can catch them on a lot of different stuff, but I would probably go the route of a swim bait. And I probably wouldn't go belly weighted. I would go something like this guy right here, or this guy right here. Paddle tail swim bait is going to be tough to beat in these weather conditions. Slow roll this thing on bottom. As the water gets colder, you're going to get fish hunkering down and relating to the bottom more than they are suspended or up shallow. So I would find your fish out a little bit deeper, and I would target them with swim baits rolled slow along bottom. This will work from now all the way through the winter until the pre-spawn, but swim baits are probably my preference. But you can also catch them on a jig. I would throw either a football jig or a micro jig, and then you could also catch them on a Ned rig. which would be my preference over like a drop shot. Because again, I think they're going to be relating to the bottom more so than up suspended. And then lastly, I think a tube bait is going to be wicked this time of year. And also a blade bait. You know, I'm not a big blade bait thrower myself. I don't love vertical jigging. You know, I don't throw a drop shot a ton. I don't throw a blade bait a ton. But I think a tube, a Ned rig, a football jig, a micro jig, and a swim bait are probably going to be some of the best for you to use this time of year. We're just a little bit past most crankbaits, chatterbaits, spinner baits, kind of the open bite that is fall fishing. You know, you could catch them on a rattle trap. You could catch them on a medium diving crankbait still this time of year, but it's got to be where the conditions aren't tough, like you say. So when the conditions are tough, you want to go to a slower presentation like those ones that I mentioned, where you're just slow rolling a swim bait, or you're dragging a jig, you're dragging a tube, or you're hopping a blade bait, or vertically jigging it once you know where the fish are. Otherwise, if you've got slightly better weather conditions and you can throw a moving bait, then I'd go to a lipless or a medium diving crankbait and target rock primarily. So anyway, now Brian is asking, did you order a lot of new stuff during the Black Friday sales? And the answer is kind of. Not a ton, but I did order some, yes. And again, I've been more focused on medium diving crankbaits as of late in terms of what I've been acquiring. So I made one order from 6 cents, just a very small one, in order to stock up on a couple of baits, and I'll explain which ones. So specifically, two baits that I only have one of each, but wanted to get a couple of other colors from 6 cents are the Movement 80X. And I think I got this one from Ray. Don't quite remember, but it was definitely a subscriber from YouTube. It was one of you guys. But this Movement 80X, not the wake bait, which I do have a few of as well. The Movement 80X is a shallow diving crankbait with a wide wobble. And this thing has a pretty loud rattle, but this thing is going to dive like 1 to maximum 3 feet. So it is not a wake bait, but it's not a square bill by any means. So this is a loud and super erratic shallow diving crankbait. And it's just one of those baits made by 6 cents that is a sleeper that that a lot of people who are in the know say that you need to have. And I hadn't gone out of my way to acquire them. So made a point to pick up, I think, another 3 of those. And then also the 6 cents Flat 75X. This is their flat side shallow diving square bill crankbait. I think this thing dives like 2 to 5 feet. And this is the only one that I have. I've had this for most of the year, and it took me a few weeks to really get the hang of how and where to use this best. But because just like all 6 cents products, it has oversized treble hooks on it. I think it has size 2 EWG trebles on it. I was getting this thing hung up more than I wanted to, but I was still able to retrieve it, get it unstuck every time. I haven't lost this bait, and it does have a unique tighter action to it. It does roll a little bit, but it's not going to have that S swimming action like the Movement 80. So I picked up a couple colors of this guy, a couple more of those, and what else did I get from 6 cents? Just a couple of other baits. Honestly, I can't remember. You'll have to wait and see when I unbox that for you. So I made one order from 6 cents, and then I did make an order from Tackle Warehouse that was a mix of two things. So first was mid-depth, medium diving crankbaits, wiggle wart style baits. So I've been talking about wiggle warts a fair amount recently. You saw me unbox these two. This is the Phantom green crawfish color wiggle wart. I picked up two of the Phantom brown craw, and then I picked up a few different colors of the Norman middle N, and I picked up one or two of the Berkeley Dredger 10.5 in the HD perch color, and picked up some of the Curve 55 from 6 cents. That's their wiggle wart style bait. And picked up a couple of the Spro rock crawler in their medium diver, not the standard rock crawler that dives a little bit deeper. And maybe one or two other similar style baits. And then I picked up a few high-end poppers that were on my list that that I just don't have in my box yet. So as you guys know, a couple months ago, I was really trying to add to my poppers and fill out my collection there. So if you guys remember, I picked up some of the dual hardcore poppers a couple months ago in my unboxing from Discount Tackle. These guys have a weight transfer system and very high-end finishes on them. I picked up one of the Yellow Magic Magnum poppers. Super loud rattle in this guy. So I got another color in the Yellow Magic in a clear version so you can see the internals of this bait. If you guys remember, I also recently picked up one of the Lucky Craft. I think this is the G-Splash 80 in the Rattle End version. And one of the Megabass, what's it called? The S-Pop, the X-Pop, the Max. And then a couple of the dual, or the Evergreen OB68 poppers. So I've just been expanding my collection to higher end poppers as of late. But at the same time, I still want to fill out my collection with kind of affordable but high quality poppers like this Berkeley Bullet Pop and the Strike King poppers, Rebel, of course, some Rapalas. So I'm on my way when it comes to poppers, but don't have everything. So I picked up one more of the Yellow Magic, two of the Don Iovino Splash Its, and two of the Labina Rico in the Rio Rico, the larger size, that is the ½ ounce, not the standard Rico, which is a ¼ ounce. So that pretty much does it for, I just made those two purchases. Now I have my cart full at Discount Tackle, but didn't feel like the deals going on during Black Friday and Cyber Monday were overwhelming enough for me to pull the trigger then compared to say now or next week. I do have my monthly purchase coming up in about a week, so I'm going to just kind of shift some of my cart over there to make that purchase. Got a couple more things from Spro that I'm going to order, and the new Strike King KBD 1.5 Hard Knock, and yeah, a couple more things that I don't necessarily want to mention now and have them go out of stock before I make the purchase. So what about you, Brian? You said just picked up a Rio Rico. Stupid expensive. Yeah, but you know, when you can save $5 on it and get them for 18 bucks, yeah, it makes it a little bit more justifiable. So I picked up two of them. one in the black color, and one in, I think they call it hammer shad. They used to call it something else that's a little bit more inappropriate, but that like clear purplish color. So again, I like to have most of my lures in more of a bold color that is bait fish or like chartreuse, and then something that's a little bit more transparent for the sake of clear water, sunny conditions, and for you and I to be able to see the internals of that lure and what makes it different than other stuff on the market. So especially over the next year, I'm going to be doing a ton of lure reviews, and I hope that you guys are down with that. They're going to be shorter videos, pre-recorded, not live streams, where I'm just focusing on one lure and showing you guys a couple different colors up close, maybe sometimes a couple different sizes, but for the most part, I'm just going to show you up close what the bait looks like and tell you about it. The dimensions, the size, the weight, the internals, the sound, where and when to use it, and maybe my personal experience with it. But the videos are going to be largely objective, not subjective. So it's just going to be an opportunity for you and other people who are interested in lures, whether you have one and don't have it in that color, or you want to know more about it, or you're considering purchasing one. It will be an opportunity for you to be able to do a little bit more research and see what I have to say about it. And yeah, just a little bit different than you'd see like on Tackle Warehouse or Discount Tackle or on the website of the lure manufacturer. So anyway, Brian picked up the risque color, huh? Can't remember what color that is or what it looks like, but Riley says he made a video on a package he bought. I was worried that he would get some colors that I sent him in his package, but he didn't. No, I haven't gotten your package yet, Riley. And you're not the only person that says that they've sent me a package recently, so I should be doing a video in the next week or two unboxing those packages, giving you guys a little bit of credit, showing you what it is there. And I know that some of the stuff that you said you were sending me is going to go in a future giveaway. So we will talk about that when the package arrives. So no worries. I just haven't gotten the stuff yet. I've been up in the mountains the last 3 days doing a little bit of early season skiing myself. Yesterday and the day before, I got in my first 2 days of skiing at Vail and had a blast. I just went out by myself, skied for about 2 to 3 hours by my lonesome. You know, the mountain is doing a good job at limiting the number of people who are allowed on the mountain per day and how traffic flows on the mountain. Now, they don't have a ton of snow this early in the season, so only some 30% of the trails and lifts on the mountain are open. So the quality of skiing that is available is pretty meh at this point. So it was more just about me getting out, being out in the outdoors, getting a little bit of a workout, and getting my ski legs in me. So yeah, it was a fun time. Went up to the mountains with my wife and 2 daughters. Did some sledding on Monday, and just enjoyed some quality time up there together, getting away from the house, which has been a rare occurrence for us during COVID this year. So anyway, we will be going back up in a few weeks here at the end of the month, but otherwise we're just kind of laying low for the rest of December until Christmas rolls around. We've got Hanukkah coming up here in about a week, so that should be fun. And yeah, throw some questions out, guys, because I probably won't hang out that much longer. It's already 10:30 my time, and that much later for all of you guys who are hanging out right now. There's just 7 of us chilling in here. I know that Riley and Brian are in here because they are commenting, and I greatly appreciate it. Brian says, also got a shower blows and a gunfish. Great purchases, man. Making the most of Black Friday and saving some dough on expensive lures. I can appreciate that strategy, dude. So shower blows, grayish shad color with a yellow strip in the gunfish or in the shower blows, because I definitely have those baits, dude. Where's my walking baits? Actually, I don't have the color in the shower blows. I only have it in the gunfish, and this is a special color called Skeet's Magic. The Skeet Reese Magic color. It's got a silver top and a chartreuse belly. I doubt that you were able to get it on Tackle Warehouse. This is more of a special order color that I found on the Hookup Tackle. But you tell me if this is the color that you're talking about. Skeet's Magic. As for Evergreen, I don't think I have that chartreuse color that you're referring to. I thought I did, but maybe I have it in the popper. Put my poppers up here for some reason. No, I don't think this is the color that you're talking about. It's probably closer to like this color that I've got in the dual hardcore with the chartreuse top. Oh, you're saying the Rio Rico, the Risque color, has a chartreuse? Got it. Grayish color with a red strip, huh? I don't know that I'm familiar with that color, but then again, I haven't been throwing Ricos and am not familiar with the color schemes because there are like 50 of them. And I don't blame them since that's one of the only baits that they make. And it does so well. So if I were them, I'd be doing the same thing and making a million colors of it. Riley, why are you retracting comments? Frankie says he's still here. Frankie, or are you a girl? I'm sorry, Frankie. Are you a male or a female, Frankie? Riley says, any certain color for those swim baits, or does it matter due to the size of the bait fish? Not necessarily. Honestly, if you're fishing, see, I throw like 3 main color schemes when it comes to swim baits. And I go with like a shad. You know, electric shad is a killer all-around color. This is primarily like a greenback, clearish belly, but with some sparkle in it. This is the Strike King Rage Tail, and I also throw the Kitech Swing Impact Fat. Oh, where do I have the electric shad? I don't know, but both are great colors, or both baits in the electric shad color. Then I also throw like a rainbow trout color. Okay, the Ghost Rainbow from Kitech is a good one. I also throw the rainbow trout from pretty much most manufacturers, from Megabass to Scottsboro Tackle to Optimum Baits. Even the 13 Fishing, the purple shad is pretty close to more of a rainbow trout pattern. And then I will throw a bluegill pattern as well. So if I were you, I would just pretty much stick to a shad or rainbow trout pattern, and those are going to cover your bases across the board. So I don't think color matters so much as size does, but this time of year you can go with like a true medium sized bait, somewhere in the 4.5 to 5.5 inch range. If you're throwing a standard paddle tail, you know, like the Kitech Swing Impact Fat or the Rage Tail Swimmer, the 4.8 or the 5.8 are probably the best route to go. You know, it's just this time of year, the fish are lethargic, and the odds of you catching numbers are low, and the odds of you catching size are medium. So I would opt for a larger profile where you're going to make it worth the fish's while to chase down and eat a bait that is just a little bit bigger. A couple months ago, I would say to opt for a smaller, you know, 3.8 inch or 3.3 inch finesse swim bait, and you'll catch numbers. You know, that's when like an A rig type of situation really comes in handy. Throwing a swim jig or a chatterbait, you know, with more action can really pay off. But now we're getting into the cold water months where a larger profile is going to appeal to fish that are more lethargic. So something that is just going to be a little bit more standout is going to be a better idea. So 4.8 or 5.8, or if you're willing, even the 6.8 inch from Kitech, I would recommend as well. You know, you can get the 6.8 inch from Kitech for 3 to a pack for $10. So it's not like they're expensive baits by any means. You know, the Spark Shad from Kitech, they actually don't make that 7-inch anymore, but the Mag Draft Freestyle from Megabass is an awesome one. These come 2 to a pack for like 12, maybe $13. So they're a little bit pricier, but are sweet baits if you're going to be swimming them at like a slow to medium retrieve. But otherwise, here's a killer one that you should look into, okay? Is the Beast Coast Miyagi Swimmer. I thought I had one rigged up, and I do somewhere, but I just don't know where it is. I think I actually put one of these on a swim jig, and I have it rigged up in my garage, but here's what this bait looks like. It's a 4.8 inch swim bait. It's mechanically hand poured, so it's kind of like the Robo Worm style, where it's a hand pour, but it's not actually hand poured. They use a machine and someone with a foot pedal to control the pour. Now it has a split belly design, so it's technically better suited for a belly weighted hook, but it has a solid head. The entire head is solid, so you can rig it however you want. You can chop off a part of the head and use like a squadron head, standard swim bait head, like the 6 Sense Divine swim bait head is a good one, and rig that straight on there. And this thing will still swim really well at slow speeds because it is a soft plastic that is hand poured. And so the 4.8 inch Miyagi Swimmer from Beast Coast is a killer, definitely worth looking at. I think they run for like $10 for a 3-pack as well. So about that same price tag as the Kitech, though you can get a little bit more for your money with Kitech. If you bump down to the 5.8 inch, you get 4 in a pack with the 5.8 inch, and you get 5 in a pack with the 4.8 inch. And I want to say that they're pretty consistent right at that $10 price tag. That might go down a little bit once you get up to like the 4.8 inch. You might only be spending like $8 a pack, and therefore you're spending like $1.50 a swim bait. So either way, you really can't go wrong with any of those, and I do highly recommend all of them. So it's a good way to get into swim baiting. Throw an exposed hook and slow roll on the bottom. You will get hung up from time to time, but you're not spending a ton of money. you can buy like 3 jig heads for $5, and you can buy 3 or 5 swim baits for $10. So you're only, you know, a $3 to $5 rigged per bait. And if you get them hung, it's no different than like getting a crankbait hung up. But the key to the strategy is to let it hit bottom and slow roll that thing on bottom. And this time of year, you can get some really good bites. So keep that in mind. Frankie, you're a dude, no problem. Sorry to wonder or question that. I wanted to make sure so that I wasn't saying one thing and you potentially taking offense to me being wrong. But good to know, man. The Funk is Frankie, a dude, presumably from Connecticut. Brian says, do you ever buy baits off of eBay? I have before, but I don't usually. Honestly, and it has more to do with the fact that I like, one, to avoid shipping costs whenever I can. So when I'm shopping, I like to shop at one place and buy as much as needed to save on shipping costs. So usually I'll spend $50 on Tackle Warehouse at the hookup. I'll spend $60 at Discount Tackle. I will do whatever I need to avoid shipping. Like I spent $50 at 6 cents so that I could avoid the shipping costs. Because, quite frankly, you know, if you're spending $5 or $6 on shipping, in my mind, that's usually another bait that you could get. So if you're already spending $20, $30, $40, you might as well bump it up, spend $50, get free shipping, get those couple extra baits. But that's just my opinion. For eBay, it requires a lot more hunting, and I usually just don't want to spend the time and look for something so specific. I usually want to purchase things that I plan to use, and eBay is more a place where people are selling things that are like collector's items more than anything. But that's not necessarily the case, so don't quote me on that. You can definitely find some good stuff on eBay. But I saw the next question is, do you use wooden crankbaits? Some, but it depends on how you define wooden. I don't use handmade wooden crankbaits that are made like small batch or 1x1. That said, I do have a dedicated box to Rapala DT and Brat style baits. So I really do enjoy throwing the Rapala DT4, DT6 primarily. You know, these are balsa wood baits. The DT4 is tiny little bait, has a single rattle in it. Shallow diving balsa wood crankbait. These have tight actions on them. The DT6 is just a little bit flatter, is not going to have as wide of a wobble, and it is going to dive to 6 feet instead of 4. I throw both of these baits pretty frequently. The 6 has more of a muted sound to it, where the 4 has more of a single rattle. It's like a high-pitched one-knocker almost. And the 6 has like a faint rattle to it. But the DT series of crankbaits, I throw a fair amount, both in baitfish and craw style patterns. That's why I showed you the bluegill DT4 and the demon DT6. Now I also throw the BX Brat series, which is a newer style crankbait, and these are a balsa wood core with a copolymer plastic outer shell. So these are square bill crankbaits, primarily made to dive shallow. This is the 3-foot diver. This is the 6-foot diver. and this is like a bone craw style pattern. Now, I've got a few different craw patterns, a few different bait fish patterns, and I like them quite a lot. You get the benefits of balsa wood being the interior material. You get the buoyancy and the action from the balsa, but you get a little bit more of the durability of a plastic shell. So the BX Brat is a really cool series of baits, but for the most part, Brian, I don't throw wooden crankbaits. One, because of the price tag. Two, because of the durability. And three, just because it's not where I'm at in my my evolution as a lure junkie or collector just yet. I'm definitely still leaving it open as a possibility that I will come to throw them more in the future. But as of yet, no. I also throw the Shad Wraps a fair amount. So, let's see here. The Shad Wrap in the size 5 and the size 7 are baits that I do throw a fair amount in cold water as well. So especially in the pre-spawn, but also sometimes in the fall, I throw the Shad Wrap. So I've got the Shad Wrap 5 here, the 7 here, and the shallow Shad Wrap, which are all balsa wood baits. But then I do throw the jointed Shad Wrap and the glass Shad Wrap and a couple other versions. You know, the Berkeley Flicker Shad and the Storm, what do they call it? The Smash Shad, I think. And the Flicker Shad Shallow from Berkeley, which are all plastic baits, but still the same shad profile style lure. So, again, same holds true of what I said about wooden lures. I still prefer to buy mass-produced wooden lures and not from small-time, hand-produced lure guys. But that's just me. You know, I'm not against it by any means. I just am more of the school of thought that if I were to go down that rabbit hole, that I would do a whole lot more collecting than using those baits. And like I said, I'm still open to that in the future. What about you, Brian? Do you use or purchase wooden crankbaits? Are those a big part of your arsenal or what? No problem, Frankie. Have a great rest of your night, man. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you again soon. So no worries, dude. I'm about to head out of here in probably the next 10 minutes anyway. Looks like Alan just jumped in here. Says, good stuff on the size of the swim bait. I will upsize my paddle tail fishing in colder water. Thanks. No problem, dude. Not just colder weather, but colder water. It's a time of season thing. So all the way from late fall to early or mid-spring, big swim baits are going to be the deal. So especially paddle tail swim baits and not glide baits. Though glide baits will work, but typically are more of like an upper, higher in the water column type of situation. So large paddle tail swim baits will kill it in cold, cold water. That's why the Huddleston swim bait has been as popular as it is. Butch Brown was the guy who pioneered that method. He does it year round, not just in the wintertime out in California, but has caught hundreds of double-digit bass on the Huddleston. He has evolved to other types of swim baits, especially hard baits, not just soft, but soft paddle tail swim baits, especially larger ones in the 5, 6, 7, and 8 inch range, are going to get you better quality bites when you consider the fact that you are going to be doing more work for fewer bites this time of year. You know, Riley referred to it just generally as tough fishing. You might as well go for bigger bites. So that's why I suggested a football jig and a swim bait as two of the primary techniques to catch bass this time of year in cold water. So that's a way that you can manage to catch big ones. Anyway, Brian says, same as you, not there yet. Yeah, maybe one day, right? We'll see. As of now, I'm just trying to appeal to the average bass. I don't think most of the bodies of water that I fish are so pressured to where the fish are seeing the same lures day in and day out, at least that I'm throwing. Like, I'm mixing it up enough to where I know that they're not seeing the same thing over and over. Chances are the average angler on that body of water is either throwing live bait or the same style lure that everybody else is, in style and color. So I try to mix it up for the sake of getting bites and getting bigger bites. But eventually there might come a time, place, and a day where I just really am wanting to spend my money on fishing lures for the sake of it, and to have things that other people don't, or to be proud of craftsmanship and want to support the people, the individuals who are making those lures. But I'm really not there yet. I'm more so wanting to try new things, try popular things, see what works when and where, and yeah, that's about it. So, said, always afraid to lose crankbaits fishing from the bank, so I don't spend a lot of money on them. But that's why I love my topwater baits. I hear you, dude. I am of the same school of thought a lot of the time. So, yeah, it's just a reality, is that when you're fishing rock from the bank, you're going to lose baits. One thing that I would recommend is that you look into a lure retriever, because that is one way that you can significantly increase the number of baits that you get back after hanging them up. And it's pretty rare that you lose a lure retriever. So you can buy a lure retriever for $5, $10, $15, and it will save you hundreds of dollars of lures over the course of just one season. So keep that in mind, and also just pay attention to where you're losing baits and think about why it is, whether it's actually the bottom or it's the structure or user error, and why you're hanging up that bait in the first place, and why you're not able to pop it free from whatever you have it hung up in. Because a lot of that just has to do with the fact that we were too aggressive in how we were fishing it, and too aggressive in trying to get it back, that we further exacerbated the problem. So, you know, if you have the right gear and you're using the right line, you can tell when you're coming into contact with the bottom or a piece of structure, or it's starting to hang up, and you can stop. And if you've got the right bait, the right equipment, or you are just fishing it properly, you can free that bait up pretty easily. But a lot of times, and this is a mistake that everybody makes, is when it first gets hung, we can mistake that for a bite, and we set the hook and just literally dig the hooks in, and we make that bait pretty much not retrievable. So, you know, to a certain extent, that it comes with the territory, though a lure retriever can still free up a lot of those baits. If you get some, you know, a lure retriever often weighs in the ballpark of 2 to 5 ounces, and just when it makes contact with the bait, will pop it free. So something to keep in mind and maybe have with you from now moving forward. Riley says, see, I have the same problem, but therefore I hate to say this, but I'm not a fan of topwater except some frogs and Berkeley Chapos. Riley! Now, the window of time can be tighter in certain parts of the country than in others, but especially where you live in Louisiana, you have to be a fan of topwater. My guess is that you're just not throwing it enough. Uh, sure, frog fishing is some of the most fun way to catch a bass, but your hookup percentage, your hookup ratio is going to be lower throwing a frog. The Berkeley Chopo, the Whopper Plopper are great baits and are going to catch you a lot of fish. It's a good way to find fish when covering water, but you're missing out if you're not throwing a popper, if you're not throwing a walking bait, if you're not throwing a wake bait. There are a lot of different types of topwater baits. You know, you also need to be throwing um, topwater toads. So, and quite frankly, I've caught some of my best fish on wake baits like rats and bats over the last couple of seasons at nighttime during the summer. So just open your mind a little bit to topwater fishing and understand that those bites are often the most fun. And if it's not low light conditions like nighttime, if even if it's low light like sunset or sunrise, you oftentimes see the blow up, hear the blow up, and it's more fun than just feeling the tug or the thump on the end of your line before you set the hook. The way that fish hit a top water um, is just unlike anything else. So it's sad to hear that you don't like top water fishing. Sorry to hear that. You said the only reason I dislike them is because we have a lot of grass, lily pads, and dirt water, so there's never enough time to fish them. But I will look into walking baits and poppers. Look into toads, okay? Soft plastic toads, specifically like the Strike King Rage toad, like the Kitech Noisy Flapper, like the Zoom Horny Toad. There are a bunch of baits like that that you need to have. And, you know, poppers are probably going to be better for you than walking baits. Quite frankly, if you've got a ton of grass. So if you're throwing frogs, I would also throw toads. You can cover more water. It's like a weedless whopper plopper or weedless buzzbait where you can run over the grass. You can do a high speed or a stop and go style retrieve, and you'll get that kicking action a little bit more subtle than a chopo or a whopper plopper. Not quite as loud as a buzzbait, but it's a weedless presentation. So you definitely need to have some toads in your arsenal, and then poppers are great because they're more of a small area presentation. So if you have a pocket, a hole in the grass, if you have a laydown or a specific piece of structure that you can fish around, a popper is perfect for that. You want to cast into the strike zone and work it slow on a single pop, or even a three pop style retrieve, where you're just varying your retrieve until you get bit. But you're only going to work the bait in, say, like a 10-foot radius. So poppers are what you need for tighter, smaller areas, high percentage zones. Frogs and toads are what you need for covering a little bit wider variety where you need a weedless presentation and you need to find fish. So I hope that you can get a little bit more into top waters. If you're throwing a chopo and you find a place for that, then you also need to get into walking baits, wake baits as well, because those can be more enjoyable bites than a whopper plopper or chopo style bait. And they can be more enticing to big fish. Same goes for swim baits, glide baits as well. So anyway, we'll talk more about that at another time. Brian says walking baits with the follow-up Senko works quite well. Very true. So I would say throw a chopo or a a toad style bait first to find fish, then throw a walking bait to slow it down but work in the same area where you know that there are fish but that are perhaps not committing to a fast moving bait, and then finally follow up to a Senko where you're just slowly working it over the top of them. And yeah, that can be a killer way to catch fish in the summertime. A Senko is tough to beat in the summer, especially in high percentage areas. So Brian says, you love it too. I knew it when I look at it, when I look at you smiling when talking about it. Yeah, I love top water. All of it, quite honestly. Justin says, I love top water baits. Need to buy some more of them, but I'm currently investing my money into repairing my four-wheeler. Yeah, I've seen that on your Instagram stories, and looks like that's kind of a long-term repair going on, but it also looks like it's fun for you. And yeah, good for you, man. I don't blame you at all. You know, you got to pick and choose what you put your money into. And, you know, during the off season for fishing, absolutely get your four-wheeler up and running. There's a time and a place for everything. So, you know, it's been fun to follow along with that. Thanks for posting on your story as much as you have been. Riley says, well, I'm sold. Looks like I got some shopping to do. Couldn't be a better week. Yeah. Use my link if you're going to shop at Discount Tackle. A lot of the stuff that we talked about, from swim baits to toads, and some of the top waters, can be great to get on Discount Tackle. So if you have any questions, feel free to text me or send me a direct message on Instagram or here on YouTube. I'd be happy to respond to anything and everything, and tell you what to get, what not to get, colors, weights, anything that you want to know. So anyway, guys, it is 11:05 my time. Later for a lot of you, I understand. So I'm going to dip out of here. It is a Wednesday night. I've got work tomorrow, and I know that a lot of you do too. So thank you for hanging out tonight. It's been a super fun time. I was just hopping on to talk about the giveaway. So when I hop out of here in a minute, leave a comment in the comment section below so that I know to enter you into the giveaway, and give you a chance to win tomorrow night. I'm going to be sending that bait out to one lucky winner later this week, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you so much for all the support, for hanging out tonight, and yeah, look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy Thanksgiving. Cheers, guys.